Hello, everybody. Sorry about my chair. We will give everybody a few minutes to get in here before we get started as usual. Hope everybody's having a fantastic Tuesday also. I feel like spring is flying by. Maybe not for some of you though, so but hopefully everybody's having a fantastic spring so far. All right. One more minute. Hello. Justin, thank you for joining me today.
Of course.
Feels so
My
special.
webinar, I know it's my webinar debut. I've never done this before.
Hey, you know what? If you do a good job at it, you'll be here for all of them. So be careful.
Yes.
All right. Well, I guess I'll go ahead and get started. So I am Stevie Williams. For those of you guys who do not know, I am a studio success manager here at PhotoDay. And today I have Justin Baker with me. He is our community manager here at PhotoDay. And he happens to be kind of an expert at commencement shoots. So that is why he is here. It's going to be great. Today we're going to be talking about using PhotoDay for commencements. And just so you guys know, please feel free to leave chats in the chat section. Please, send us whatever you'd like. If you have questions specifically that you want us to answer at the end, leave them in the Q&A section of the chat. So that's a separate tab. But yeah, we'll get to those at the end. Justin, thank you for coming on here. And let's dive in if everybody's ready.
Let's go.
All right. So it is getting to the end of the school year, and that means that commencement ceremonies are coming up. So many of you may be preparing for commencements. If you've never shot one before and you're using PhotoDay or you're thinking about using PhotoDay, this is going to be a fantastic webinar for you. Hello, everybody. Sorry, I have to not look at the chat or else I will just say hey the whole time.
They are distracting.
I know. Sometimes I have to not read them. So, but yeah, so today we're going to go over using PhotoDay for commencements. If you guys are not using PhotoDay for your commencements, you are definitely missing out. It makes things super, super easy. We're going to kind of break this into two separate parts. So we have different job types. So really two different avenues that you can go down, and it starts with choosing the gallery type that's going to work best with the organization that you're working with. So before we get started, just want to let you guys know we have a written guide that this webinar is actually based on, and we're going to share that at the end of the webinar. So if you guys need to reference it, or, if you're trying to, absorb all this, we actually have it all written down, and it's awesome. It was made by Justin and our very own Austin. So thank you guys for making those. But yeah, it has the complete checklist, and it's really awesome. So stay tuned for that at the end, and let's get into the first segment, which is using public galleries for commencements. Okay, so we're going to go over public galleries and how that workflow is going to look. Just so you guys know, public jobs are going to have one access code for everybody. And then customers are going to actually use the search options that are provided to find their photos on their end. So if you are photographing a commencement and you don't need to put each subject in their own private gallery, if there's not a huge need for privacy, you can use a public gallery for your commencement. Public galleries are definitely, I won't say they're easier than private galleries, because private galleries are super, super easy, but they are going to be a little bit less work on the beforehand for you as the photographer. So you don't have to use the capture app and check everybody in. You don't have to keep track of too much, photos wise, besides different subgroups of photos if you want to tag them. And we'll get into that. But the other kind of nice thing about public galleries is that it's one access code for everybody. So it's very easy to market. Like everybody's going to text the same code to get opted in. And getting opt-ins should really be your main goal. So we use SMS marketing. Text marketing is super, super effective. So your goal is to get everybody who is your potential customer opted in to the job. We'll talk about all that. But let's jump to the next slide.
Checklist. So yeah, we created a checklist. This is really just going to be a basic, I guess, overview, general checklist, just to kind of give you some ideas of like things to pay attention to. I know a lot of people can kind of skip out on some of the steps, and then it becomes picture day, and then you realize, oh, well, I should have done that beforehand or whatever. So ours starts at 8 weeks before. I know graduations are coming up quickly, which is crazy. I think the earliest one I've heard about so far is like 2 weeks away, which is wild. But yeah, this is just a generalized outline just to kind of make sure that you're prepared and ready to go. So quite a bit ahead of time, you want to make sure that you've got your job created, claim your access code, just because for those public galleries, the access codes are unique across the whole platform. So you just want to claim your code so that you can start creating your marketing pieces. And then about 4 weeks out, you can start communicating that gallery information to your schools. Send your graphics over, try to get that information put into the printed programs. I know a lot of schools start printing those quite a bit ahead of time, so just make sure that you communicate that with enough time so that they can either get it approved or get it sent to the printer so that it can also be printed. Just because that's going to be a take-home piece that you don't even have to pay for. Like it's just there, school pays for it to have it printed, and everyone gets one and takes it home. So like your information's already in there ready to go. About 3 weeks before, start gathering information from the school as far as like your location, venue information, arrival time, start time, all that good information. Get parking information too. That's super helpful for you. And then if you have other photographers going, that'll be great to kind of have and know where you're supposed to park, just because some of those large venues have strict parking on like employees versus visitors, stuff like that. About 2 weeks before, you can kind of start thinking about marketing to the actual parents and the senior class, just kind of letting them know where they're going to find the information or where they're going to find their photos after the event. At this point, you're going to start getting opt-ins if you are communicating early, and those opt-ins are going to be your best friend for public galleries. About a week before, this is when you want to just confirm details with the school. Just make sure everything that you communicated beforehand is still accurate. If there's any last minute changes on your end, or if there's any last minute changes on their end, it's just super helpful to know at least a week out so that you can make adjustments if needed. And then on the event day, just make sure you arrive plenty of time so you can start preparing your team. If you have other people helping you, talk to your contact on site, just make sure they are aware of like all of your positionings. So if you need somebody front and center in the middle of the stage while they're crossing the stage getting diplomas, make sure they know where you're going to be. I know some people like to stop and turn while they're taking their diploma. Some principals like to just keep it going and they don't want to pose for photos. So it's good to have that information and know what you're supposed to do and what they're supposed to do while you're trying to take photos. After the event day, just making sure you organize photos, get everything edited, culled, everything ready to upload so that you can get them uploaded quickly. And then afterwards, we of course have our automated marketing. So once you get all your opt-ins and everything like that, the automated reminders and stuff like that will be going out for a 30-day period. And then after that 30 days, if you want to do any additional marketing, or if you expired the gallery and want to reopen it and remarket it, you want to just start thinking about some of that, just to kind of make sure you get as many orders as possible.
Sweet. Those checklists are awesome. It's like, if you haven't thought of it, we have. So check that out in the guide.
And some people have unique instances. So like if you have your own, definitely find a place for it in the checklist and kind of edit it to fit your needs.
Totally. Okay, so marketing. This is kind of pertaining to public galleries specifically, but you can kind of use these tips for private as well. But the key to selling online is providing clear communication to your customers. So it's really important that you are thorough with your marketing and also just clear and concise, but simple and, not too many words in your marketing. I feel like that's very important. Your customers have to know where they're going to find their photos when you're selling online in order to make it work. So it is important for them to be informed ahead of time and in many different places. So we have a couple of, examples here. You can do all of these. You don't have to choose just one. I would recommend, using as many different methods of marketing as you can. So let's see, here are some examples of the in-person marketing or also marketing in the program ads that you can use. So yard signs. Now you'll see there's a QR code on these. Now with public galleries, you could put the public gallery URL behind the QR code and people will scan it. It will bring them to PhotoDay where they can log in and then opt in. This is a pro tip. And so QR codes are not generated inside PhotoDay right now. You'll have to use, if you are familiar with Canva, you could use Canva. There's also tons of QR code generators out there. And we have recommendations if you guys need one in the bubble, come chat with us and we'll get you a link. But you can actually make an SMS action QR code. So hopefully you guys follow me here, but basically you put the phone number in. So the phone number for this case would be 90738, which is PhotoDay's short code. And then you'll put the body of the text, which will be the access code for the gallery. And then you can generate a QR code for that. And what's going to happen when they scan the QR code is it's going to plug that phone number and the access code into their text messaging app. And all they have to do is hit send. So the gallery link is a great option, but I would say the SMS action QR code is like, it's a path of least resistance. All they have to do is just hit send. It's very easy. They don't have to go through multiple steps to get opted in. So yes. So also the program ads, like Justin said, they take them home. Also, as they're waiting and kind of sitting there throughout the ceremony or before, they're going to be flipping through and they can go ahead and get opted in at that point. Also, if the school is able to give you spots where you can put posters or, flyers, you can do that as well around the ceremony. So as people are mingling or before or after, they're going to see that as well as they're passing through. And then also the Jumbotron, which you mentioned, if you can get screen space or if they have like a slideshow going or whatever, see if you can send something out for that or for social media as well. There's a ton of different options. And we also offer marketing resources to make creating this stuff easy as well. So,
yeah, the SMS QR was super helpful whenever I was doing it. And the marketing pieces that I was making were like extremely basic and no words on it. It was just like scan and click send to view photos. And like that was it. I was like, you don't need to know anything else. Just do it and just opt in and you'll figure it out later.
Exactly. Like if you have the opportunity to put like 5 words only on your marketing, do it. That's
scan it and find out.
you got to keep their attention. You can, you don't. And the good thing about PhotoDay too is that you don't have to provide extensive instructions on what they're going to do once pictures are ready or how they're going to order. Our system really does a good job at like leading people through that. It's a very simple checkout process. So you really just need to focus on giving them instructions for opting in and the rest gets taken care of. So yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So search options. So with public galleries, there are 2 different search options that you're going to be able to give your customers so that they can locate their photos in that big gallery of images. So for starters, all photos. You can give them the option to scroll through all the photos. This is up to you if you want to offer this or not. Some photographers do provide it just in case a customer wants to go through and look at all of them, especially when it's an event. I can understand it, but I have heard that people turn it off so that their customers aren't in like an endless scroll. If you have thousands of images and someone just, impulsively clicks all photos, you don't want them to have a bad experience just because they, weren't led to the search options. So you are able to turn these on or off in the settings of the job. So you can just actually unclick, uncheck. I don't know if either of those are words, the all photos option and hit save. And then they'll have to choose face finder tags. And you can do that with any of the search options. So yeah. Now, Face Find is PhotoDay's most gorgeous, beautiful golden feature. Face Find is going to allow your customer to upload a photo of the subject, so of their graduate, and it's going to return any photo that contains the subject's face in it. So this is going to be extremely helpful, especially if you're doing photos like, while they're walking across the stage and then like afterwards, or, pose shots, so that they don't have to go to all the different places to find each of those photos. FaceFind is going to pull them all together in one. So it's really amazing. And I recommend having it as an option, keeping it turned on. So I will say, if there's any photos where 50% or less of the face is showing, those might not pull up with FaceFind. Most people are probably not going to purchase pictures with less than 50% of the face, but something to keep in mind if you're doing a lot of candids. And that can be why tagging is helpful. And that's the second search option. So tags are essentially subgroups of images that you can create in the gallery, so that people can click through and look. Tags are good to have in addition to FaceFind, kind of like I mentioned with if FaceFind doesn't pull up every single photo that they want to see. Also, if a grandparent is using PhotoDay to look at the pictures and they can't figure out where a photo of their grandkid is, or whatever it might be, it's good to have tags as a second option, and just so people can scroll through. I think for commencements, you can break the gallery down into different types of shots, like maybe the stage crossing shots, the candids, the pose portraits after, exiting, things of that nature. I would say that's the best way to separate with tags, right, Justin?
Yeah, that's what I always did, just so that keeps myself organized. If anyone reaches out for questions or can't find something and I need to find it, then I know what category to look in. Um,
Yes.
and then I will say the face find option is extremely mind blowing. Like when I worked for the studio, so I was a user of PhotoDay, and graduations was my intro into PhotoDay, and now I'm here. So, but I started using PhotoDay during COVID. So all of our graduations were 5 days long because they couldn't do
Mm.
everyone at the same time. Everyone was wearing a mask, and I still used FaceFind, and it found people just from their eyes. So it's pretty crazy that you don't need much.
Yeah, that was mind blowing. Mind blowing is a great word for it. We were all scared, and then
I
it's
know
like,
it was the greatest test, honestly, because we were we needed to jump ship and do something different with graduations, and we're well, I want to use PhotoDay, but now COVID's a thing, and this is crazy for everybody. So I was well, let's just do it, and then it worked, and I was okay, well now we have to do it even after COVID because it works.
oh yeah. So that is that. All right. Now jumping into private galleries. Let's see. Yeah, so if you guys need to put each subject into their own individual private gallery, with schools, a lot of times privacy is necessary. So we do have private galleries for that reason. I would say a lot of people use private galleries with commencements. Either is a great option. So yeah. Checklist time.
Another checklist. Again, this is just a general overview of just different steps. It's mostly the same steps. The only thing you want to focus on with private galleries is making sure that you get your subject data ahead of time, whether you have to request it from your organization, or if you photograph their senior portraits, then you kind of already have that senior data and you can just reuse it for the commencement gallery. You can just upload the data, and if you want to reuse reference photos, that's a step that we're going to talk about, so that you don't have to actually use the capture app during the event, because that could be kind of a weird workflow trying to check people in while the event's happening. But if you did need to use the capture app and you didn't have reference photos, then you could still do that, maybe as they're entering the stage, something like that. But definitely be mindful of getting that data and ready to go before event day. And then afterwards, just the marketing is a little bit different because everyone has their own unique access code. So you just want to make sure that you have emails or a way to communicate each of those codes with everybody, whether is through email or if it's printed flyers mailed to them or sent to the school for them to pass out. which can be kind of hard because they're graduating, so they're not really going to be back at the school. And then gallery lookup would be another option that we can kind of go into, of sharing a link and they can find their own access code or their own private gallery without needing that super unique code. But as far as organizing, editing, uploading, remarketing, really all that is pretty much the same as preparing for the other job types.
Sweet. All right, reusing data. This is a really cool option.
Yeah. So if you are reusing data or reusing your reference photos or anything like that, so you can export your senior photo, maybe yearbook photos, if that's what you did. You can export that data from the old job as a service item export so that you can get a headshot attached to each of those names in that export. And then you'll import that data into the new job, so the commencement gallery. And then you'll also make sure you keep the column for file name so that whenever you upload your old senior headshot photos to the commencement gallery, it'll auto link all of those to the reference photo field for each of your subjects. And then after everything's linked, you can delete those headshots out of there so that they're not actually in the gallery for commencements. But that reference photo will stay connected to their subject record. So that's super helpful. So then whenever you go in and actually upload the graduation images, then everything will match to that reference photo that you've uploaded. Whether you have just portraits from the graduation or if you did do candids or anything like that, it will just find them anywhere in the photo and place it in their gallery so that they can view it. If you do have a ton of like candids or a bunch of different angles and a lot more than just like portraits and stuff, then I would usually lean more towards like private galleries, or I mean public galleries, just because private galleries, once you upload all of your images, it's going to be a lot to kind of go through and make sure people have enough images in each of their galleries, because maybe it only found like 2 images of somebody and then like 75 of somebody else because they were in a bunch of backgrounds of candids or something. So if you maybe are like focusing on portraits at the ceremony, then private gallery would be much easier to use just because you kind of know what you took. So I would just be mindful of that when like choosing the gallery type for this. When I was doing graduations, each graduation I think had like 15,000 images. So there's no way I could have done private galleries. Like there would have been images everywhere. People would have been like, why is this image even in my gallery? And it's like, well, if you squint, your kid is like right behind the left shoulder of that. So yeah, definitely be mindful of like how you want to do this workflow before you fully start making jobs and access codes and stuff like that.
Totally. And also, if you didn't use PhotoDay for the like yearbook pictures, for instance, in the fall, but you have images and data, you can put images and data from, even a non-PhotoDay job in to use PhotoDay for the commencement as well. So I think it's super valuable that you don't have to use Capture if you've done the pictures already. So yeah.
Yeah, because you definitely don't want to mess up the flow of the event.
Right. Like
they will get mad at you if you like hold up the line of crossing the stage, because they read those names faster than like I don't even know what. And it's like, how are you even reading that? I don't even know how to pronounce most of those names, and they're just like, get them in and out. They don't care about photos.
Correct. Yeah, you got to be real slick with it. So all right, marketing. So Justin touched on this a little bit, and going back to the slide that I had for public galleries, you can still have general marketing to use on the day of the ceremony when you're doing private galleries. Oh, I guess it's right there. Yeah, cool. So you just want to use the gallery lookup link. So this is my second favorite feature, second to Face Find. But if you're doing private galleries, whether you have emails or not, we give you an option to create a general link for that private gallery where parents can go and search for their subject's gallery. So you can get them opted in that way. If you put the gallery lookup link behind a QR code, they can scan it on the program ad or on the Jumbotron or whatever, and then they just have to enter at least the subject's first and last name. And then you have to do at least one other piece of data. And this is going to be pulled from the subject data you've uploaded into the job. And And if they enter that correctly, it's going to bring them to their subject's gallery, and then they can just opt in to text that way. So that makes private galleries even more simple. It was hard at a time to market each individual access code. And you can do that by email. So you'll be doing that by email. But if you want to still have posters, still have yard signs and all that up, look at gallery lookup. If you're not using gallery lookup, even if you have emails and you're doing private galleries, you should, because it's super cool. Now, and if I explain that really crazily, there is an article for it.
It made sense to me.
Yeah, but you're here every day. Okay, so private galleries also have automatic email campaigns. So if you have email addresses in your data, there are going to be emails that go out starting when you publish the job, and then it's going to remind them over 30 days. So once they get that email, they can follow the instructions on the email to go in and look at their pictures in order. They can also just opt in that way. And we also have automatic SMS marketing. So if they get into the email and they put their phone number in, then they'll be locked in for text messages. And that's why manual flyers might be important. Manual flyers are emails that you can send that are outside of the automatic series. So if you want to get opt-ins beforehand, you can send out a flyer in advance with the access codes on it, and people can start getting opted in that way. So again, your goal is to get as many opt-ins as possible, but we take care of all the reminders once pictures are actually ready. So that's helpful. Now we do have some basic pricing for commencements on this slide. I would say this is just kind of a baseline. I think what's important to notice here is that the packages are, very heavy on like digital downloads, wallets, maybe larger prints. And then also you see that there's items like tassel frames, thank you cards, and graduation specific products on here as well. So some of our labs that we're partnered with do offer those types of products. Definitely check out your lab in specific and see if you see it in the a la carte section. I can't remember off the top of my head who does and doesn't. But things like tassel frames, thank you cards, we do offer those through PhotoDay. So sell those, make sure you don't miss out on them. But yeah, so like I said, this is the baseline. If you're doing way more like portraits, maybe you go a little higher than this. Or if you're, doing a lot of candids, of course, just adjust accordingly. This will be in the guide for you guys to use as an example when you're setting up your pricing. But yeah. And then driving urgency. So you guys are, if you're selling online, you're unleashing people to kind of place their order when they're ready, when it's convenient for them. That being said, you really need to make sure you're creating a sense of urgency for them to go ahead and place their order as soon as pictures are ready. So here are some suggestions and some things that you can offer through PhotoDay to do that, starting with advance pay. So advance pay is going to allow your customers to purchase credits in advance, so before picture day or before the event, and, on the day of the event, or all the way up until pictures are ready. The benefit of that for you is that people are getting, making a commitment to purchasing once pictures are ready. And you can tie an incentive to advance pay. So for instance, you can say they get free shipping or they get $5 off if they choose to buy a credit in advance. So yeah, I think that advance pay is definitely a viable option with commencements. I recommend using it. It just gets people engaged with the gallery. Even if they don't purchase the credit, they're going in and like looking at the options. And you'll see higher orders because people purchase credits and then they spent that money a week and a half ago, and then they can spend twice as much, when pictures are ready. So that's a good one. Now, the 48-hour free social sharing download. This is a little bit of a hack. So you can put a social sharing download into each package on your price sheet. You'll want to have a version without and a version with. And then for the first 48 hours that the gallery is live, you can attach the 48-hour free social download price sheet. And, everybody who purchases a package in the first 48 hours will get a social sharing downloads. So that's an exciting way to, people can purchase their print package and then also get a social sharing download. They'll be able to post it right to social media. I think this offer works really well. And what's also awesome about it is that there's no like extra fee. There's no, you're not taking anything out of your margins with this one because, like you would with like free shipping or whatever. So this one is good. And then you'll just want to market it, right when you release the gallery, just send something out, with a manual flyer. Or we also have custom promos you can use that will text your customers or email your customers and let them know about the offer. And then we have time sensitive offers. So you can do free shipping, a percentage off, or a dollar amount off for a limited amount of time when you first release. So first you'll create the offer in PhotoDay, and then you can actually attach it to the gallery as a gallery promo. So what that's going to do is it's going to communicate the offer in all the automatic marketing that goes out for as long as the offer is available. It's also going to show it as a banner in the gallery. And, when people get that text, pictures are ready, get free shipping off $50 or more if you order by, April. There's no April 31st, May 1st, right? Yeah, I would recommend, planning to get some of this in place before you release the gallery. You really need to have like a strategy put together beforehand. You don't want to just kind of fly by night and just like, do offers whenever you feel like it, whenever you want to see more sales, because you want to train your customers to, to buy when you want them to buy, to do the right thing, to buy early as possible, not to wait, sending out a sale 3 weeks in, after the gallery's published. That's kind of punishing customers who purchased early, and it's rewarding the behavior you don't really want. So
yeah,
make a plan beforehand. And then one more thing, you can set an expiration date on the gallery. So that can be done in the job settings. And once that date hits, a text is going to go out on the day of expiration, letting them know. The automatic emails actually send like a week before too. But this is a good way to get everybody who was like waiting to go ahead and purchase. Of course, the good thing about selling online is you can leave pictures up forever, but I would say expiring is a good rule of thumb. It's a good habit to get into with all your jobs because it teaches people to, go ahead and get it done. So yeah.
Yeah, whenever I worked for the studio and ran graduations, I never expired galleries. And then once I started working here and learning that like it was such a great thing to do, I ended up reaching back out to the studio and I was like, okay, here's what you guys need to do. You guys need to start expiring these galleries because you're missing out. And then the very first time we expired like everything from the previous year, and the numbers were crazy. Like it was February and the numbers just for February outdid like all of off season of graduations just in that 1 month because we expired. And I was like, okay, I'm mad that I didn't think of this much sooner when I was actually an employee there. Yeah, it was crazy. And then another thing that I just now thought about for advance pay, it would be cool to even just offer like a today only advance pay type special. So like you would put that in the program and say for today only spend $20, get free shipping or something. And then before you leave for the event, just turn it into advance pay. And then when you leave or when you get home, just turn the event pay off, or I guess that evening. Just kind of get people like, oh, well, today only, let me go ahead and put in $20. And then now you've got them opted in, you've got them paid in a little bit early. And then once you publish, they're spend that.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of creative ways to use advance pay, and expiring galleries. Like aside from all like holiday sales or anything anyone's ever sent out, expiring is going to be like that. That's the thing that people are always blown away by. So,
well, expire is just a scary word.
oh yeah,
across everything, like food too. Like if I see expiration date and it's like a day before that, I'm not gonna eat it. I'm sorry.
totally. That's yeah. Oh no, I'm not.
It's like expiration date is so scary. Like people will buy early or today's the last day, then they're like, I'm getting in there, I'm gonna buy right now.
Totally. Yeah. And I mean, honestly, you can still open these galleries up in PhotoDay and let people who missed the mark, place their order. You can even put higher pricing, which is what a lot of people do. You can still let them order. I wouldn't pass up on a sale, but you can be like, okay, I would be happy to open this for you for 24 hours, so you can order. But
Well, if you just leave it open, they just think they're being sneaky and think you
yeah,
forgot to close it. So
yeah,
let them think they won.
right. I was going to say one more thing. I could talk about expiring galleries all day, though. Oh yeah, I wouldn't expire them too early. I would wait 30 days. I would let the marketing series kind of go all the way through, and then you can plan to expire. Maybe like summertime, end of summer or something.
I would expire a little closer to like Christmas.
Okay. All right.
So that people are like, oh shoot, let me get those graduation photos. Oh, it's also Christmas. Let me get grandma something cute.
Right? Get a mug.
Because if it's summer, I feel like there's not like a reason to get. I mean, it's expiring, so like that's a reason to get it. But if it's around holidays, I think that's a little bit more reason to like get a little bit extra.
True that. Okay. Let's get into some tips from the graduation expert himself.
Yeah. So yeah, I didn't do a lot of. I started with like graduation photography, so like I know a little bit about it. But I've focused mainly on like everything post-production, which was crazy that it was just me with like 90 schools graduations, but I did it. Yeah, so this, I guess before, if you're able to scout the location, just to make sure that, again, making sure you know where parking's at for you and your staff, make sure you know where entrances and exits are for your planning your marketing materials. So if you make a yard sign and then you get there and it's all concrete, it's like, well, now you're not gonna be able to use that yard sign. So you just want to make sure that you know like what you can or cannot use in that place, and then how much you'll be able to like put around. So if there's like lots of exits or entrances that they'll be using, you might want to double up your marketing to kind of make sure that it's spread out. And then if you're able to get inside, then that's super helpful if you want to kind of scout out things before arrival on picture day, just to make sure that you know how big the place is, where the chairs are going to be set up, how the stage is laid out, making sure that you know like where graduates are entering and exiting. If you're doing candids, those are great shots of like them entering the venue or entering their like seating area, because they're always smiling and waving at family and stuff like that. So those are always great pictures to kind of try to get. But during the event, kind of like what I was just talking about, getting those key moments, focusing on posed portraits, try to get at least one, whether it's before or after. I usually prefer after they cross the stage, because when they have their diploma, you can grab a quick headshot of them and then they can continue on to their seat. And then they've also got their diploma, they've exited the stage, so you're not really holding up the line of them crossing the stage. You're just grabbing them once they're done and they're headed back to their seat so that they can keep going as quick as possible. Getting those candid shots. If you have multiple photographers, definitely having somebody roam around the event, just making sure that you get everything. People laughing, celebrating, all that stuff. And then making sure you focus on speakers. So if the keynote is speaking, if there's any student speakers, anything like that, just make sure you get the people that are speaking, because those are super important moments for parents.
Totally.
And then post-event, as far as photography goes, just making sure that you have an editing workflow. Make sure that you're organized. I like to categorize all my photos in folders, just so that I was using public galleries, so that once I uploaded all those different folders, it automatically created all my tags for me so that everything was ready to go. I didn't have to tag anything once it was uploaded. It was all just ready to go based on that tag or that folder name. And then another thing that I like to do was rename my files at the very beginning to some kind of abbreviation of what type of photo that was, whether it was headshots or handshakes or diploma, candids, anything like that, so that I knew what that photo was without even opening the photo. So that once graduation like season was kind of over and I was looking at orders and stuff like that and export the sales report, it has all the file names listed for each of the orders. So you could quickly see like, Oh, most people are just interested in my headshots. So maybe I don't need to waste a lot of time on candids or anything like that. Or maybe a lot of people do like candids. So maybe you want to double up photographers to kind of cover a little bit more. So that's always great stuff to kind of look into or have insight of if you kind of stay organized like that. But yeah, that's really it for, I guess another thing for after the event, try to get family photos. I know that was another thing that we really did because we didn't have enough staff for it, but I always wanted to have photographers like outside the venue once everyone kind of exited and they were finally meeting up with their families after they got diplomas and stuff. So like being out there to capture candids and family group pictures and all that stuff that they might quickly try to grab on a cell phone and then it's like not that great of a picture. But if you get it and you like properly pose it, set down your purse, take your jacket off, like all the stuff and like clean it up, make it nice. I think those would really sell.
Totally, totally. Yeah, and about the tagging thing, I did not mention how to make tagging a little easier. So yeah, you can sort them into folders, and when you upload them, it just tags them. Or you could use Lightroom keywords if that's more your jam. So yes. All right. And then uploading, fun part.
Yay. Yeah, I mean, uploading are just going to be the normal file restrictions. So just make sure it's JPEG or PNG. RGB color space, max file size is 15 megabytes. And then the longest edge has to be 8,000 pixels or less. So just make sure you have all that done ahead of time. I would create a Lightroom export like preset so that your preset is already set up to these requirements so that you're never really going to be over it if you do your editing and culling and all that stuff in Lightroom. Another thing to pay attention to is just your cropping. So we usually suggest doing like a 4:5 crop for things uploaded into PhotoDay so that parents can easily order things and the default crop across various products is kind of just going to work out. So they can just kind of add to cart and move on to paying pretty quickly. If you leave things in a 2:3 ratio crop, so usually the original file out of the camera, just make sure that you're aware, like while you're taking those photos on site, that you're leaving enough space for 8x10s and 5x7s to really crop in quite a bit on the shorter edge. So yeah, if you're not going to spend a lot of time cropping afterwards and stuff, just make sure you leave enough space so that if parents are going in and ordering these other sizes, it doesn't default to crop things off. And their parents they're not being forced to fix your crop so that it looks good on their end. And in most cases, I see parents aren't really clicking the crop button. They're just opening it, pick the photo, check out. They don't want to have to do the extra steps of adjusting the image or anything like that. They just want to pay as quickly as possible. And we want you to get paid as quickly as possible too. So just make sure your crops are nice and ready to go, ready to order.
Totally. Okay, yeah, the cropping thing is super important and it's not that fun to find out the hard way. So yeah. Okay, well, as far as resources go, I think it's time we share the link for this guide. Once again, these guides are like so cool to me personally. I like to like read to learn. I mean, I like to watch videos, but like I'm not going to retain it. I like to read. So I think these are like some of the coolest resources we've ever made. So the commencement one will be shared in the chat. It'll probably also be sent in the replay email. We have a ton of other resources at PhotoDay too, like a marketing kit you can use to make these, marketing pieces for the commencement. We have how-tos written. We have webinars like this, support articles, blog posts. We have the bubble, the support chat, and we also have the CSMs. So me, Austin, everybody on our support team. So if you are getting started and you haven't talked to our team yet, go to the bubble and ask to schedule an onboarding, even if you feel like everything now that you watch me and Justin's amazing webinar. You can still talk to us and let us know specifics about your job and we'll help you out. And if you're already using PhotoDay, you can schedule a call with us as well. Just check up on how you've been doing. Definitely take advantage of our support and all the resources that we have. And yeah, thank you guys for coming. This is PhotoDay's pricing, but included in our pricing is all these cool features and resources and marketing tools and all of that jazz. So yeah, I think that's it.
Do we have any questions?
Oh, you know what? Thank you. Okay, let's see. So Heather, looks like we answered Heather's question. If she photographs cap and gown individuals beforehand and then does candidates and receiving diploma at the ceremony, can she add all of the pictures into one job, and will FaceFind put the images into the same folder? So yes, if you're doing public galleries and you upload all those photos into one gallery, all the pictures from the different times are going to come up together. And then same with private galleries. You know, if you use the Capture app or if you have a reference photo, all those images are going to pull into the private gallery. So as long as they're in the same job. So yes, it makes it super easy. And then one other question, is there a way to offer social media downloads? Yes. So we have social sharing downloads that you can offer on your pricing. Those are separate from high-res downloads. So if you want to throw those into packages or offer one individually, you are able to do that. So yes, and then our system automatically resizes it. So okay, one more question, and keep them coming, guys. Keep them coming. We need good time. All right, let me try my hand at the old the gallery lookup link. Justin, you want to do it this time?
I can go if you want.
All right, let's hear yours.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, gallery lookup, that's going to be where for private galleries only. So once you upload your subject data, if you scroll down below where you uploaded your data, there is the gallery lookup feature that you can enable. And then based on the data that you have uploaded, you can set first name and last name are required. And then you set a third or more fields for the parent or the customer to enter that matches your data. So that allows you to share one single link for the whole gallery, even though everyone is separated by private links. You can share that one link in your marketing or your QR codes or with the school or anything like that. And when somebody opens that link, they're brought to the gallery lookup page and it asks them to enter their subject's first name, last name, and then any of the other information that you've asked them to fill out. So I know seniors probably have student ID numbers, so that would be a good one to like keep it secure. It's like enter your first and last name and then your student ID number. And then once it's confirmed that those are matched based on your subject data, then it takes you right into that subject's gallery without even needing the unique code. So hopefully that helps explain it a little more. And then we also have articles about it. There is, I think we did a gallery lookup page with a link, a learn more link within that guide that Austin posted a link to. So we definitely have more if you need to read into it a little bit more.
Yeah, it's the best thing ever. Learn it and use it. It's awesome. And you can also make the data a drop down. So like if you're doing teacher or something, for instance, I would recommend doing that because at the moment, gallery lookup isn't, it won't like be smart enough to like, if they misspell something or if they write like miss out instead of MS dot, like, so you can use a drop down. I wouldn't use a drop down for student ID, but for any other data, because if they enter it wrong, it won't return. So keep that in mind. I wouldn't use like email, keep it simple. Now let's see. So Lynn, we are going to be dropping, we already dropped, I think, the graduation or the commencements guide in the chat. And Emily dropped the gallery lookup link for the support article as well. But Lynn, if you want to check out the guide, there's going to be a page in there that has the suggested pricing that we provided. So that should help with your pricing question. And this webinar is actually just a whole video version of the guide. So if you guys missed any parts and you don't want to watch back from the beginning, we'll provide a replay tomorrow, but you can also look at the guide and we went over everything that's on the guide. So yes. And then where do you find social media downloads? So when you go into your price sheet, which is going to be under the store tab, under price sheets, go into the pricing that you're building for graduation. And then over on the left-hand side under digital products, you're going to go in there and you're going to click the plus sign on the top right, and then you can select a social sharing download. Now you can't use social sharing downloads for our features like bundles or download all. So they're just either single, or you can also put them into packages. So you can offer a single social media download under the digital products tab in your price sheet. If you want to add them to packages, you just go into one of your packages, and there's going to be a catalog drop down on the left. Click that and click, I think it says digital downloads. And then you should be able to select the social sharing download and add it from there. So hopefully that helps. But yeah, if you need any other help getting it added, come to the bubble. We will gladly help you out. Our team is super helpful, super quick to answer. And yeah, I think that is it. If you guys have anything else, come see us in the bubble or in the Facebook group where Justin lives. Justin, thank you so much for helping me out today. I think you should
You're
just
welcome.
take over webinar.
I'm happy to be a guest anytime.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for joining us, and have an amazing rest of your day. See ya.
Bye.